Continuing here. So I was just saying that Dr. Ms. Ford is saying that that Kavanaugh is responsible for her issues. That's why she has to have two doors on her house. This is why she has anxiety attacks. And nothing even happened. I mean, basically, I'm not saying that, I've never put my hand over a woman's mouth. I would never do that. If that happened, okay, that's sexual assault. That's violent sexual assault. And, he'd taken her clothes off and, against her will, and she's struggling, trying to scream. I mean, you get an idea in your mind that this was horrendous if this really happened. She remembers it very clear, and it was definitely him. She doesn't remember how she got back from this thing, but from this party that she was at. I mean, certain things stuck in her mind crystal clear, but certain other things she has no recollection at all of. So, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how this works. But I can tell you this much, is that this idea that she was right to not go to the cops right away is fallacious. It's erroneous. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. It's a fallacy. Because what is she doing? She's protecting a violent sexual predator, and she's putting countless women at risk that this guy is free to to find his next victim, because what he did was not all right. And this is what women need to get through their minds, is that, look, right away, you need to mull it over. And if you were really offended and attacked and you're freaked out by an incident that some guy perpetrated against you, you need to go right to the authorities, or you need to talk it over with friends, family, and let them tell you what to do. Okay, but at the time, this is why there's a statute of limitations on these things. There used to be. Now, I asked Quay Bono who benefits by lifting the statute of limitations. Attorneys. If somebody accuses you of some sexual crime and there's no more statute of limitations, the sky's the limit. So 30, 40, 50 years, it doesn't matter. Somebody comes forth and claims something against you. They might not do it unless you try to be somebody, and then they want to use their power and bring you down. I'm a little upset right at the moment because I was talking for at least 30 minutes and my tape wasn't running. So I'm upset about that. But listen, folks, I could tell you this much, is that if a lady tells you no, okay, it means no. And they need to say it. Women, you need to say this in a way that your words cannot be misconstrued. You don't say no in a seductive manner, which, you're really trying to say, oh, yes, take me, baby. Oh, I don't want it. But, that just psychologically that's going to rouse the guy. It's a misuse of your power if you do something like that. Okay. You've got to just, make sure that you've been emphatic and made very clear. No, hands off. No, you're not going to do this thing you want to do with me. That's it. End of story. So find somebody else, get out of my life, or you leave, whatever it is, then that's it. Okay, before an incident happens. But if an incident does happen, if you are attacked and overpowered by some guy, then you've got to, go in a timely manner to report it. It's not going to help your mental health if you've got mental issues from this to sit on it for decades. And you're certainly not helping any women that might be victims, right? So, let's at least be logical when we talk about these things, all right? All right, folks, listen. I'm going to get into current events, but really, I do want people to really understand the deeper wisdom. Understand why wise men still seek the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Why wisdom got the name of wisdom. Why knowledge is true knowledge, is not the temporal things that you learn in colleges, university, with all these acronyms behind your name, and you've got this degree and that degree and a master's and this and that. Okay, that's fine for now. That you get your career, you get a good paying job. It's all about money. We all know that you're taking the path of least resistance and just you got common sense, you're pragmatic, right? And you just want to make a lot of money and have that financial security, that financial freedom. We get it. We all understand that. But that's not the deeper knowledge. That's really not the whole enchilada. That's really not the whole story here. Because unless you care about your fellow human being and their welfare, then in the sight of God, you become a nobody. Because we're owned. We will stand before one and give account someday. And in our right minds, we welcome that. We want that. We want to be good, decent, upright people, loving to everybody. And we want to be well-wishers and wish the best for not some people, but for everybody. That's where I'm coming from. I want universal prosperity. I don't want selective prosperity. The earth belongs to God. We're all his children. We all have an inherent right to share in the goodies. So there's a very good rhyme and reason why and wherefore I believe the way I do. And I know what is to come and what we need to preparing our hearts and minds and spirits for that day when we are all free. And you've got to not just be willing that that day come. Okay, that's not Christianity. You've got to be wanting it. Okay, this is a thus saith the Lord kind of thing. This transcends all political affiliations and beliefs and all that temporal crap. Okay, this just has to do with God's will being established upon earth. So, ultimately we've got to find a way to get off the junk, off the money. Okay, that's it. And the best way I know to do that is gradually through sound economic policy, sound currency that automatically, naturally increases in worth according to true capitalist free market supply and demand principles that involves competition. This is what happens naturally. Because we as a civilized society find easier and easier methods to produce the stuff we want and need. This is why your money keeps going up in worth. Stuff gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and that's what's supposed to happen. So you get a chain reaction in the opposite direction. Your cost of living tax keeps going down. Your burden keeps going down. You gradually become more and more free. You feel more and more secure. You understand? That's what's supposed to happen. And the opposite has been happening, not by accident, okay? Not by oversight, but by deliberation. That's what you've got to understand. This is on purpose. And this is the only solution they bandy about, that it's all good. So we've all been trained to think the only hope is just, you're just going to get a raise in your pay and it's going to match your ever-growing cost of living tax. And it's never going to happen. If you look at how utterly, profoundly, deliberately remiss the Labor Department's been at giving true commensurate cost of living adjustments to the minimum wage workers, you understand that they couldn't do that, or else they couldn't steal from us. Do you understand? So the Federal Reserve and the money printing class, this tiny fractional percentage that is the critical mass, the politicos, the sycophantic, fraud, corrupt politicos out there, okay, that are in on this thing. So they're one of these collusive special interest groups. A tiny percentage that's a critical mass that's up, steering this ship. They are the rudder steering the boat of corruption to this trajectory. And the only answer they have is just keep debasing the money, give themselves raises so they insulate themselves, they make themselves immune, right? And they don't care. They don't care about the masses. So it's a very fascist kind of system when the government doesn't care about the interests of the public at large because they exempt themselves. That's fascist. That's wrong. So there's a lot of very powerful groups colluding. That's all it takes, is to be this critical mass, the sycophants in there, and just go along with this program. And you can't worry about the other people. Worry about old number one and tell you they do. They're politicians, so they got to tell you that they're doing this and that for the public's best interest. And, on both sides of this thing, there's corruption. So understand what's going on here. They're lying to you. They've lied to you. They've convinced you that high housing costs are a good thing. This is the answer. Just, your investments. You want your investments to keep going up in worth, but they'll never discuss the fact that you want your cost of living tax to go down. How are you going to accomplish that? You understand? They're all lied to you. And I know what I'm talking about, folks. That cost of living tax inflation is not good, especially in perpetuity with no hope in sight, no end in sight. Where does it end? Especially when wages are never matching it. For decades it's just fallen behind. So the cost of living tax goes up like this. And if they're raising minimum wages like this. So you understand, there's no hope that's ever going to happen. In fact, you should be able to get pay decreases. That's how fast your currency should be increasing in worth. That your currency, your will go up in worth so much that you could have a pay decrease, and still you're getting richer. Do you understand? Because everything is getting cheaper for you. That's what would happen under true capitalism. It has to involve supply and demand principles. There has to be rules to the game. If there's no rules, or if they're rigged rules, then it's no fun to play it. Not for somebody with ethics and morals and a conscience that cares. And that's what I implore everybody to be. That's having deeper wisdom and knowledge. It's listening, it's hearing, it's heeding to it, it's applying it to your life, to your heart and mind, the way you think, your principles, your credos, your philosophies, your belief systems. You've got to care about the least of men. If you don't, you're nobody. You're not going to successfully be able to stand before your master, your owner someday and give account. You understand? And that's what you want to be able to do. So that's why I'm always imploring people to listen to this deeper wisdom about really, the values you should behold, that you should embrace, and those that you should give marginal importance to, marginal pertinence to, okay? And I'm telling you, folks, things are not as they seem. Money is not the be-all and end-all of success. Yet that goes according, against what is popularly believed because of what you've been taught, colleges and universities, and by the mainstream media. Parents, what do your parents know? They don't know anything. They just know that you were born. They don't know. They're not God. I mean, it was a mystery to them how you came to be. We know not from whence we came or where we're going. We need God. That's deeper wisdom, is that embracing that idea that nobody can save your life. Not your wife, not your husband, not your children, not your brothers, sisters. Nobody can save your life. No human being. So how important can they be? We all need a personal relationship with our owner. Okay, that's who's going to save us. This all comes down to salvation at the end of the day. So having right values is critical to our eternity, to our eternal well-being, not just the temporal well-being, which money we know is key to our temporal well-being, our sense of freedom and security in this world. We all get that. That's not hard to get. That's been drummed into us. We've been inducted into that belief, induced into believing that way. It's been inculcated. We've been beaten over the head with, understand this is what you need. You need a good education. You need a good career. You need a lot of money to be successful. And this is how we define success in the very secular temporal sense. And this is it, man. This is where your freedom and security and your happiness is going to come from. So, you need it to have a wife, to raise a family. You need lots of money. So this is paramount. This is your God. This is first and foremost. This temporal learning, this education you get in this world. All that other deeper knowledge I'm talking about is nonsense. It's of no value. You don't need a conscience to be successful. No. It's dog eat dog. It's cutthroat, man. It's a rat race out there. It's social Darwinism, anything goes, no holds barred, and you got to jump on the bandwagons in life early, and so that you can be an oppressor, or else you're going to be oppressed. I mean, get with the program. This is common sense. This is logic. Think the way we tell you to think. This is pragmatic, right? Isn't that the way the secular world tries to teach you? And I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you that deeper knowledge is what you should seek. And it's just one whole hell of a lot more important. It can't be measured. It's that much more important. It comes to eternal salvation, the welfare of your soul, where you are going to be found worthy and deserving of going to from here. What kind of a reality, what kind of a paradigm, what kind of a world are you going to go to? Are you ready for it? Do you want it? Do you want to live in a world where everybody is free, or are you satisfied and you like this one where you're privileged? You have an advantage over other people because you did the work and you worked hard and you succeeded and you made lots of money. So you like having that. That's good. You're somebody. You're rich and you're famous or just successful, and this is all good, and you get all the accolades from your success, and the secular world just builds you up because you succeeded, and you've got the right values, and the proof is this big smile from ear to ear, and it's just about money, So, anyhow, folks, I'm going to get on to some current recent events, and first thing I wanted to, I really wanted to finish off with this Ford Kavanaugh hearing, because this, mesmerized the entire nation, probably a lot of the world too. But and I don't have a dog in the fight. I liked Amy, the woman that was running, better. I think that would have been a great political choice for Trump, but so be it. This is a sad situation that we're at this point in our country. That this has to just supersede everything else that's going on in our country. And none of it's going to help us to get to the root of the problem, which is a Federal Reserve. Donald Trump should demand that, we want to use the Supreme Court, then let's sue the Federal Reserve. Okay, let's sue them that we don't want